Or there we go. We're recording now. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's always nerve-wracking being
All
on
right,
camera.
so this is called For the Love of Writing, and I'm here with Melissa. I want to say Liberator.
Yes,
I got it right?
you did.
Sweet.
Yeah, my grandparents pronounced it Liberatore, but then when they moved here from Italy, it's Liberatore. So,
Yeah. My last name used to be Novellino, and now it's just Novellin.
yeah, all
Yeah.
right.
So I guess I'll start with how old, well, it's two questions. How old were you when you started writing, and what got you into writing?
Wow. Okay. So my earliest memory of writing without scribbling and pretending I was writing was around 11, I think. Seriously writing. And I used writing as a way to just cope with traumas and to deal with a home life that was not always stable. So for me, writing was the way I dealt with my emotions. And being an 11-year-old girl, I feel like that's the time when everything just kind of goes crazy and haywire. So writing really helped me rein those emotions in.
Okay. That's my story is so much different. I was like 10 years old, and my grandma had a bunch of Stephen King novels. And
Nice.
I loved the covers, but when I opened up the book to read, I was like, this is boring. I don't want to read a bunch of words. And then I told my grandma I said I'd like to write a story, but I don't want to read one. And thankfully I grew out of that and I like to do both now. But
For
yeah,
sure.
that is awesome that you could use writing for to channel that stuff.
Yeah. I was a bookworm too. I read a lot. So,
How how many books would you say you could read in a month?
oh, well, if I didn't have anything else to do,
Yeah.
I probably could, I don't know. I like to savor them, so I don't like to speed read through them. So maybe one a week, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're a
If I
quick
had
reader.
nothing else to do.
I if you knew how long it takes me to read a book, I started reading The Exorcist. For the
Oh,
first time.
wow.
Oh yeah. I thought I was like this will be a difficult read just because of the matter. Um, I started reading it and it was about I'd say the beginning of October, and I'm a little more than halfway through it, but I have so much on my plate that I already do that it just I get if I can get 10 pages read in a day, I'm happy.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that's the key. I just get sad when they're over sometimes. I get attached to
yeah,
characters
it's
and then I'm
the
like, oh, it's over. Now what do I do?
Oh, it's a horrible feeling because you get
Mhm.
so into the characters and then they go away and it's
Mhm.
you started to like it's almost like they were real people.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, so do you have where are your books available?
So I have three poetry books, chapbooks, and two of them are on the Foothills Publishing website, and the other one is available pretty much anywhere, Barnes and Noble, Amazon. I found it on various platforms, but predominantly on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So I could show them to you here. This was my first
Absolutely.
one.
Nice.
Uh,
Okay.
there we go. Yeah.
Moving through
Um,
moments.
yes, moving through moments. And this one was the first one. It was like my introduction into being published. So there's only 19 poems, but I made it kind of a vast or a wide net of different topics. So there's some stuff about death, there's some funny things, there's some political things. I just wanted it to kind of be a sample of here I am. This is what I
Okay.
do. The second one is really about love and grief, love, lust, and loss. And my daughter designed the cover for this.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so there's a lot of sappy love poems. There's some brutal breakup poems. There's some death poems. It's a, wild ride. And then,
So
uh,
you mainly write poetry.
yeah, I am working on a novel currently. It's more of like a memoir, and it's I don't know if you've ever read Charles Bukowski. That he has a collection called Tales of Ordinary Madness.
I've heard of him. I've never read one of his books, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I started writing these memoirs and then I read that book and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm kind of doing what he did without realizing it, where he took a series of just moments in time and then he put
Yeah.
them all together to create, a short novel. So that's in the works, but
Okay.
and then my last one is Lost in Translation, and this one is available on Amazon
That's my
and
favorite cover so far. I love that.
yeah,
I love that
it's a
cover.
fun one. Yeah, it's a fun one. And this one has a little bit of everything too, but it's a lot of like inner thoughts and telling a story in a short poem that paints a bigger picture. And so there's some death poems in there, there's some depression poems, there's just a little bit of everything in there.
You know what? Now, you as an author, which this is the way I feel, and I bet you can probably agree. So much goes into writing a book. It's like you pour everything, like blood, sweat, and tears, and all
Yeah.
those hours. And the first draft is never, the first draft is always garbage. Then you write another draft, and it's better. And then it starts slowly coming together. And then you read through it after, someone's gone through and edited it for you and helped you. And then you start finding the little spelling errors, and it drives you nuts. And then you
Yeah.
put the book out and you start getting good reviews or no reviews or that person who has something like mean to say. And it's normally because they don't have any books out, so they're mad about it. So they gotta like hate on your
Yeah,
work. So
that could
much
be.
goes into writing, and that's what I love about it is like this is actually one of the questions I have for you. I'm gonna answer uh mine for my part first, so then I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Okay.
I one time my wife came in the bathroom and I was wrapping saran wrap around my scalp.
Okay.
And she goes, "What the hell's wrong with you? What are you doing?" And I said, "There's a guy murdering somebody in the book I'm writing, and he doesn't want his hair to get all over the place. So he's saran wrapping his entire head and just leaving his face uncovered." And she's like, just don't die. And I was like, I'm not gonna wrap it around my nose. And
Research.
yeah, and I was like, this is free research. I'm just using plastic wrap. Um, which leads to one of my questions. I wasn't gonna start asking the questions first thing. This is one of them I have to ask though. What is the craziest thing you've ever researched on the internet for a book?
Um, I think for me, most of what I research is just another word to use so that I'm not being super cliche sometimes. Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I've actually, because of the nature of what I write,
Yeah.
I don't think I've had to do a lot of research in that way. I might research, oh, here's one. I wrote this poem about how when you're a single woman, or maybe even not a single woman, there's always sharks circling your island. And I was like, how do I say this without saying like a school of sharks? And I learned that a shiver is actually a group of sharks. So I guess maybe
Okay.
that's the way to
I didn't
say.
even know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome though, because somebody will be reading that and they won't even like take into consideration the amount of time you spent looking for certain words just
Right.
because you wanted to have like a special word in there that would make it sound different than just a normal sentence. That's what poetry, I gotta tell you, poetry, I've written a little poetry in my life, not a lot. I think it's harder to write poetry than it is to write a story.
I like doing both, but I feel like I like to tell a story in as few words as possible because I feel like sometimes you can get lost in the details of the story and miss like the overall arching theme.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge for me sometimes. I want to like take 14 lines and tell you this amazing story and make you think about it. So for me, poetry is like it's the ultimate medium of expression for me. It's
Yeah.
kind of like um I like to compare poetry to music. So I often say it's like the music of the mind, and it's that like inner window to who you are and your soul. So for me, poetry is just it's fun because it brings like this magic to things. And I don't write a lot of like sing-songy, rhymey poetry,
Yeah.
because sometimes that just doesn't it takes away from the overall like feeling that you're trying to portray in the poem. But I feel like if you can relate an emotion to somebody, if you can have somebody relate to that just by writing a poem and you can make them ponder and wonder, I think that that's like the ultimate goal, I guess. And it poetry, not just writing it, but reading it, it leads me to this like self-revelation, self-discovery. And if I can do that for someone else, then that's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's like why I write books. I want to entertain people and like take them out of like real life and have them be in
Yeah.
this like fake life, but make them feel like it's so real.
Yeah. Well, you know how sometimes if you're sad, you'll just like listen to sad music,
Yeah.
just to kind of get it out of your system. I feel like poetry can do that for people, especially on topics like grief or depression, death, those kind of things, or getting over like a lost love or something. If you can read something that like stabs you in the heart a little, I feel like it helps you
Yeah.
move on because you're like, oh, that's relatable. I felt this way. Wow, I'm not alone in it.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean. That's what I love about words on a page. They can be extremely powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions. Nine now to be exact. Just because I put a lot of thought into these. Like each one
Yeah.
took probably 10 minutes to think of. And I had probably 40 questions, and then I started going through the ones that I thought weren't that exciting.
Okay, let them rip.
So
Let's
the
do it.
first one, where is the craziest place you've ever written?
Well, okay, so this is a hard one because I'm kind of always thinking about the next poem and about writing, and I feel like every life experience is kind of like a seed to either a poem or a short story or something to bring something to life on the page. But I've written while driving, which is probably not the safest. In the shower, at a doctor's office. I even started to partially formulate a poem when I went skydiving a couple months ago. Like as I'm in the plane going up and like waiting,
Yeah,
I was already formulating in my mind. So maybe that's the craziest place.
that's honest. I thought my story was the craziest, but those are honestly amazing. That's like writing whenever you get it. I love that. Mine was I was writing in the hospital while I'd say about 5 hours before my wife gave birth to our daughter. I'm in
Nice.
the hospital with the laptop, and the nurses kept asking, what are you busy over there doing?" And I was like, "I'm writing a novel." And they'd laugh, and my wife
Yeah.
would go, "He's not joking. He's really writing a novel." And I finished. I stayed up all, and I got my wife's approval for it because I was like, "You're gonna be giving birth soon." I'm like, "Can I bring the laptop in, or you want me to leave it home?" And she's like, "Bring it in because I want you to finish it." She's like, "So once this
Nice.
baby's born," she's like, "You're not writing for like a year." And
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." I'm like, "I can do that." And it turned into 2 years of not writing, but it's okay. I'm back at it. But I finished a novel uh, at 6 in the morning. I finished it,
I
staying up
love
all
that.
night, and then like 5 hours later, my daughter was born.
That's really
It
awesome.
was oh,
Yeah.
it was fun. Um, but you found a lot of places like the shower one. Was that like, did you have your phone in the shower?
Yeah, I
Oh, that's
did.
awesome. Hopefully it's waterproof.
I mean, it's fine.
You had it on a ledge so it wouldn't get wet.
Yep.
I like that. That's dedication. Um, The next one is, which I think everybody's done. Have you ever put someone you didn't like in real life in one of your books and then killed them off?
No, but I have ridiculed them in a poem, or the whole poem was about them. So, yeah, but without saying it was about them. Haven't killed them off though. No. I feel like my style would be more like how can I make them suffer? So-
I like that. I like that. Yeah, my first book I ever wrote, my brother, he read it and he immediately says to me after he reads it, he's like, "Oh, so you wrote about me." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he told me, I said, "Which character do you think is you?" And he told me and I said, "That is the meanest character I've ever written." I said, "You think that you're mean?" And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Well, that character is." And I'm like, "So what are you saying about yourself?" And I've found so many people will like mainly in my family, they will be like, "Why are you writing about me?" And I'm like, "It's not about you."
That is the nature of being in a writer's life.
Yeah.
You're at risk for constantly being immortalized in their writing.
Like I accidentally named a girl in one of my books. I named her Trish,
Mm.
and my grandma was like, "You put me in one of your books?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "My name's Patricia." And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, I
whoops.
didn't even think about that." And she's like, "Sure you didn't." And I was
Yeah.
like, "I really didn't."
I just stopped thinking about how everyone else was going to perceive or what they were going to think about it, and I just let it rip
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, their feelings might be hurt if they think it's about them, but this is really about me sharing and connecting with people. And sometimes if the shoe fits, just wear it, I guess.
exactly. Yep. You can't let other people's emotions dictate what you write.
No, no, definitely not. And you can't just leave them out if you feel compelled to write.
Yeah.
Like my memoir, I don't use any names in the entire thing. So no matter what, no one can be upset. I mean, the people who were there will
Yeah.
know, but there will be no like, I can't get in trouble legally because I haven't used any names.
I like that. Um, the next one is pretty simple. It's what's the longest you've ever written for?
Oh,
Like sitting down, what's the longest like hour wise would you say you've written for?
mhm. Yeah, I'll say probably 4 hours-ish, maybe working on the novel that I'm working on. But for me, I'll stop what I'm doing to write a poem because they just come to me. I don't, and I try not to edit them um, a lot. But I could be working and I'm just working on a client's website, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I need to write a poem. I'll just drop what I'm doing and go write that poem and then come back to work. So the poetry is more sporadic and it just comes to me when it comes to me. But if I'm going to sit down and really like write out these chapters for the
Yeah,
novel, then I'll dedicate some hours. But
I like
four
that.
hours, I think, was the longest.
You're making me want to write a poem now
You should.
because like writing a scene in a story, oh, it's just it takes like I'll sit down for an hour and my wife will be like, "What'd you write?" And I'll tell her, and she'll be like, "Oh, you wrote that's all you wrote?" And I'm like, "You have no idea. I stared at that screen for like 20 minutes
Right.
thinking of how I was gonna say somebody opened a door and walked through a room." And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, just because I didn't want to say he opens the door and walks down the hallway. I wanted to
Oh,
have it like
yeah.
so I'm like I needed to put something different. Just like simple little scenes or like oh they sat a glass down on the table. Do I want to say anything about the table or is it just the table? Like
And what the
things
glass looks like and how it
yeah.
feels and yeah, how full it is, all those things. Yeah. I think the nice thing about poems is that you can tell the entire story and in just such a compact way. So
Yeah.
there's like resolution, right? There's the conflict there, and then all of a sudden you're done. And so I think that's what I like about poetry. I
Yeah.
think was it Hemingway, I think, that said he wrote the shortest poem. It was like tell a story in 6 words or something, and he wrote about
I
baby shoes. I can't remember
yeah,
exactly.
baby shoes never worn.
Yes,
Something
right.
like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember the first time I've read that. It was very easy to read. But I I remember the first time I saw that. I was like, "Wow, that's a good story." Like actually is.
And it can relate to everyone because it leaves so much ambiguity that you can just take that wherever you want it to go. So I kind of like that, especially in poetry. I like to leave a little ambiguity so that people can relate to it better, and every person can relate in a different way.
I like that. That's awesome. The next one is what is the most amount of words you've ever written in one sitting?
Oh, well, I guess that would probably be the novel that I'm working on. And I want to say it worked out to be like 36 pages. And so maybe there's like 800 words per page. I don't know what the math is on that. I'm an English major. Don't make me math.
For me, it was I wrote and oh, I'm never gonna do it again. I wrote 9,000 words in one sitting, and when I was done, my brain hurt. The next one is what's the latest you've ever stayed up writing? Like 2, 3 in the morning kind of thing. What's the latest you've ever stayed up?
Yeah, I'm a night owl, so I'll definitely stay up late, probably to that witching hour, that 3 a.m. But I'm also a conundrum because I'll get up early and write too. So I may go to sleep at like 3 and then I'll be up by 7 and I'll
Do
be up
you do
again.
you do you prefer morning or night writing?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I feel like I can do both, but I think the late night writing I think is usually best.
Yeah,
Although if it's super early in the morning and everything's quiet, everyone else is sleeping, like that's also a good time. But I feel like I've gotten a lot more accomplished in the late night writing.
the next one is I almost crossed this one off, but I thought, I'm gonna keep it in. Have you ever written a sex scene in
Yes,
poetry?
I have plenty of very erotic poems and scattered throughout my collection of poems. So yes, the answer is yes.
The next one is would you rather be a famous author or still sell a lot of books, but no one knows that you're the author?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I don't really like a lot of attention on me, so I think I would probably rather just sell a lot of books and have no one have a clue
I'm
what
the
I'm
same
saying.
way. I like when I find out people have read one of my books, the second someone's like, "Oh, I bought your book and I'm reading it." And I get like, "Oh, I like clam up like what's in my brain." And then they start
Absolutely.
and then they start asking you, "Do you really think this way?" And it's like, "I don't think that way at all. It's the character." I'm like, "It's not me. I don't feel that way." Um,
The
what's the wildest thing you've ever written?
wildest thing. Hmm. Defined wild here. Let's see. I've written about so many things. I've written about climbing mountains. I've written about jumping out of planes. I've just maybe, I wouldn't call it wild, but maybe the hardest thing I had to write about. And I say had to because like I have to write, like I have to breathe. But my watching my mother take her last breath, I had
Oh,
to write this out, and that was a really hard one to write. Sometimes it's hard to read when I read it out loud, but I had to because I had to get it out of me. So maybe not wildest, but hardest.
that I can very much resonate with that. It's like my dad died in 2022 and my wife has told me um she's like, you realize every one of the books you've like every story you write now has your dad in it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Mm.
She'll point out the character that's my dad. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
And she's like, you don't even
yeah.
realize you're doing it. And I'm like, wow, I'm trying to keep him alive through my stories, I guess. Um, the next one, this one I don't want to ask, but I'm going to ask anyways, just because I don't know, it interests me, and I feel like it's one of those controversial questions, but at the same time, it's more of a yes or no answer. You don't have to go into detail if you don't want to. I just really wanted to ask it because it's me. Um, do you ever have a character be religious or political?
Um, Not necessarily a character. I've written some, I've written about religion and politics in my poetry. I wrote one poem that's called what was it? Bear Right. Hold on, what is it called? Anyway, it was about when Trump ran for president the
Yeah.
first time, and oh, it was right to bear arms, left to bear ignorance, or something. And I wrote
Okay.
about how weapons can't really hurt people; it's people who hurt people. So I wrote a whole poem about that, and that was pretty
Okay.
controversial in my circle of people. So, and then as far as religion, I wrote about a woman, a single mother, coming to church and being kind of like scrutinized by the congregation because here she is with this baby and she's alone and oh, how could she, you know? So,
Oh,
yeah.
I like that you because I know a lot of people get all upset when people use like anything that like scrapes the political line in writing. I like it. I just for me it's I if because I have written not really a political character, but to where like in one piece of the book he like voiced how he felt,
Hmm.
and I like doing that. For me, it was I wanted the reader to not know how I felt about it, which
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
can be very difficult to do. But I like when writers put a little bit in and just to where you get like it's like almost like a real life like feeling like the characters are real because you're having actual stuff from the real world in it. I
Right.
I
It's
like when
not
they do that.
always pretty, right? Like there's
Yeah.
some ugliness to it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that. I kind of want to read that poem now. What's it called? The right to
It's got- I could read it for you if you want.
how long is it? Just because
It's not very
it
long.
says we've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the
Oh,
Zoom.
goodness. All
Yeah.
right, I can do it real fast.
Okay.
Right to bear arms, left to bear ignorance. The left, the right. No one is listening. No real solutions, just hot air meeting hot air. Fight, fight, fight. The storm grows bigger, fed with ignorance and insults, hovering, heaving over our heads, arguing for one side or the other, missing the big picture, pointing fingers in every direction, forgetting to take a glimpse in the mirror. We've advanced ourselves into blindness, a dark place where responsibility is avoided, emotions disarm sense and reason, inanimate objects have the potential power to massacre freedom, the media, a rapid fire of fluent distraction, assaulting the masses with misguided information and half truths. What an example to the world.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's really good. That's on Amazon or
No, that one is on the Foothills Publishing website.
okay.
I can
Okay.
send you some links.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love that. Now before I let you go, just because God, I thought they were allowed 40 minutes. My wife goes, no, it's like 30. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
I mean, I could always extend it. But I think what we got is great. Um, so your books, just tell everybody where your books are available.
Foothillspublishing.com. One will be under the last name Adams, one will be under Liberatore. I wrote one when I was married, so that's why. The other one is on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. That one's lost in translation, but I can send you the names of them and the links if you want to include
Okay.
them when you post the podcast.
And it's Melissa Liberatore. Okay, that is awesome. Um, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. This was really
Thank
fun.
you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming on and sharing your story. I really enjoy hearing other authors' stuff. I didn't know you were a poet, which honestly is awesome. I don't know enough people that write poetry. I know a lot who do, but not enough. I wish I could write poetry. I don't think I'd be good at it. I'm good at
I
writing
bet you can. You should give it a whirl.
I will probably try to now that I know like because if I could just like on my lunch break at work write something quick
Mhm.
like take 5 minutes I don't know I think I'd get a lot out of it
That's
So
how it
that
starts.
I
We're gonna make a
definitely
poet out of you yet.
it's possible. Wa- Watch in 5 years, I start releasing poetry.
I would love that.
It's possible. But yeah, I'm gonna try to put this up today. I'm gonna try to put it up around like between 3 and 5. Um, if I have complications with it, I'll let you know. But it should definitely be up today. I would post it next week, but I don't want you to have to wait to watch it.
Oh, it's no problem. I really don't want to watch myself anyway.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on, and I'd love to have you on again. All
Sounds
right.
great. Thank you so much. This was
No,
fun.
no
All
problem at
right.
all. All right,
Have a
bye.
good weekend.
You
Bye.
too.